is critical.
You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards. We want to thank you for turning folks in and making sure we are all safe.
So we've got an epidemic of addiction and suicide brewing here. You saw 25 times more calls to the hotline. Well, is that what we're doing with economic deaths that are coming down the pike, with 500 million more people being in poverty because of the economic lockdowns?
That means 135 million people on Earth are marching toward the brink of starvation.
What you really want, and I wrote about this in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend with Lawrence Silvers, is a massive sentinel surveillance system where you can be testing people randomly in the background to detect where the virus might be spreading.
And at the moment, in most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them.
He's being taken away by the Brighton police for playing softball with his daughter in an empty park.
Being arrested, his mother. You gotta be kidding me. Why? Wait, where your kid?
We need the wake-up call that Jesus is coming soon, that prophecy is being fulfilled. We get so lackadaisical. We get so, I'm just going about my business. And we're coming up on a time in Earth's history that is unprecedented. And it's time to get busy with mission work, with restoring our families, with restoring our relationship with Jesus Christ, and getting right where we need to be in our lives, in our spiritual lives.
As of Sunday, most businesses like grocery stores will be closed every Sunday for the whole month of April to give employees a chance to rest. And everyone says that's how it should be.
It is a very good idea to think about it for the future, so that everybody takes a good day Sundays and spend it with the family, which is the family values like we used to have back in the old days, back in the 60s.
Shoppers agree that Sunday is a day for everyone to rest, some referring to their childhood in the 60s and 70s when everything was closed.
I totally agree, because Sundays is the day of the Lord.
Grew up with grocery stores being closed on Sunday, so it's not a bad idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think people have to take it a bit more seriously.
Pope Francis, in an Easter letter to leaders of social movements, wrote, quote, "This may be the time to consider a universal basic wage. Several countries have said they will implement some form of temporary or permanent universal basic income in response to the global pandemic."
Fauci trained me at Cornell, and I like Fauci. But Fauci, unfortunately, is a very strong Jesuit follower. In other words, he's more Catholic than the Pope.
Where am I with Christ? Where is my spiritual condition? And we take a deep breath. We don't have the fear and anxiety response over all this. The Bible says that many people, when they see the prophecies being fulfilled, that their men's hearts are failing them for fear. But we have the privilege to lift up our heads, for our redemption draweth nigh. So that's the Christian response to all of this.
All of the projection, by the way, all the statisticians have been 100% wrong. And we've been following the models because that was the only blueprint, but they haven't turned out to be correct.
You can start to see that when we take our cues from public health officials and the talking heads on the media and the agendas of the powerful global elite, we get ourselves in trouble when we don't look at the actual data. It's worse than the flu. It's more potent as a bioweapon of Satan to take human life. We are under directed biological warfare attack.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
Probably we should be debating a bill requiring every American to attend a church of their choice on Sunday to see if we can get back to having a moral rebirth.
The restoration of Sunday as a day of rest, a paid day of rest, a required day of rest. Non-essential, interesting word there, huh? We hear that word these days. Non-essential business establishments were required to be closed on Sundays. Brace yourself, folks, with the gospel armor on, and know that we are steps away from Revelation 13.
In-person services are prohibited.
The church said, hey, isn't there an exception for free exercise of religion? And the court said, what First Amendment? What free exercise clause? No worship service allowed. Now, you might say, well, shouldn't we be more prudent? Shouldn't we be a little more responsible with our gathering practices during a time of a pandemic? Of course. But the position of the state to come in and outlaw worship services and arrest pastors, this is unprecedented.
How does this virus change this society? What do you see changing fundamentally after all this is done?
Everything. I think initially, when we get to the other side, I've been calling it America 2.0.
It is fair to say things won't go back to truly normal until we have a vaccine that we've gotten out to basically the entire world. What does opening up look like? Which activities like schools, have such benefit and can be done in a way that the risk of transmission is very low.
Yeah.
And which activities like mass gatherings may be, in a certain sense, more optional. And so until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
So now there's a declaration and a determination from the power elites in terms of who will be deemed essential and who will be deemed not essential.
What you want is every single person to get tested every day, and then they would wear a badge.
But one of the things that you have to be able to do is to track people who are positive.
And that's just going to require an army of folks. We need tracing agents in the hundreds and hundreds of people, right? You take the test and then you trace back all the contacts. This is an army of tracers. They're basically investigators.
So people are looking for rural real estate like never before and buying seeds. They're getting self-sufficient, and then seed companies can't keep up as more Americans turn to growing their own food. Raise Our Own Provisions, as you read in the book Country Living. Read that book. You just read that Michigan residents during the lockdown are prohibited from leaving the cities, from fleeing the cities to go to rural land. They banned the sale of seeds. The state of Michigan made it illegal for you to buy seeds, and not because of a shortage, but because they are non-essential. So growing your food to feed your family is now perceived as non-essential.
Yeah. So you're saying I'm not allowed on the front garden? Did everyone hear that?
We will not at this stage be starting to marshal supermarkets and checking the items in baskets and trolleys to see whether it's a legitimate, necessary item. But again, be under no illusion, if people do not heed the warnings and the pleas that I'm making today, we will start to do that.
God has his people in government, and many people who push forward with these measures who are well-intentioned. I'm not trying to be mean to the judge who said, no church services, and the police officers who shut down the drive-in church and all of that. I'm sure these people all mean well. But at the top, there is a satanic elite with an agenda that has pushed for population reduction, that has pushed for mass murder of the unborn. Just look at my session on beltoftruth.tv called Planned Eugenicide.
And there's more police cars at a church service. Yes, this is King James Bible Baptist Church, where Pastor Hamilton, where I'm the pastor of the church at.
When you get an order from the government,
Yeah.
your rights are suspended.
No, the government, Our right don't come from authority. It comes from the Bible. So the authority does not have the right over the Constitution. We're talking the constitutional law, the First, Second Amendment, the U.S. Constitution that was given to us by our forefathers. Tate Reed can't take it away. Mayor Eric Simmons can't take it away, nor the police officer. It can't.
Out of military,
No, it can't.
You made that decision, and as I noted before, 15 congregants at a synagogue in New Jersey were arrested and charged for being in a synagogue together. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you well know, protects Americans' right, enshrines their right to practice their religion as they see fit and to congregate together to assemble peacefully. By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this.
Well, these are the times that try men's souls.